Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I am going to go ahead and jump right into the mystery of iniquity. This is the continuation of the first part of what I did, talking about the when they came, and this was talking about the Anunnaki, what they call the Anunnaki, and from what I understand, the translation, from what I understand of what Anunnaki mean is those who came from heaven, right? Now, this is the story, all right? These Anunnaki beings came here. We were already here, women. Yeah, I said it. Women, they're denying it. They hide it. They don't say it. They try to disguise it and everything and prop themselves up. We were here. And the first ones were here. And it just is what it is. I don't mean to offend anybody and I don't mean to make nobody mad. But the truth is the truth. And we don't like to hear the truth, but it's the truth. Highly melanated women were here first. They keep digging in the ground, digging in the ground, digging in the ground, trying to find him. They keep finding us. The oldest bones, skeleton, that these grave robbers, anthropologists dug up. I call them grave robbers. That's what they are. But anyway, um, the oldest bones, skeletons that they have dug up was that of a highly melanated woman. So we were already here when they came. And like I said, they were living their life. They were one with nature, they were one with the planet. They knew how to maneuver and operate with the planet. One of the things that I did, I don't think I mentioned it, was I was amazed at how the animals would walk just freely along with them. They would walk with them, they would walk up and feed them, the animals, pet them, hug them, love on them. They were just one with the planet and everything on the planet. They learned how to operate like that, or either they came here with that knowledge already, but they were just one. And you would ask where they came from. Now, this is my hypothesis, because there was a time where we were able, and I did say share this with you. There was a time that we were able to replicate ourselves. The women were able to replicate themselves. Okay, and it's called. It is a thing. It is a thing. It is a thing. We don't have that ability anymore because they manipulated and tampered with our DNA and messed with us to where we cannot do it ourselves anymore. And I think that was this is what I think. I think that was because they were angry because we were creating ourselves. We could you know reproduce more us, more women, you know. And I feel like they were upset and angry with that. So what they did, they manipulated our DNA. I mean, watch the first video. I don't want to go back into all of this again, but that was one of the things that I noticed, is that they got along really well with each other. They got along really well. Um, and I'm gonna bring this up again because I did share this on the first video. that there was no money, there was no need for it. Everybody, I mean, these women were so peaceful looking, a look of joy on their faces, because everybody was doing what they were passionate about and what they loved and enjoyed doing. That's what they did. They did it, right? Um, our ancestors, hmm, I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna go there. I'm gonna stay on this. Our ancestors lived in a time where they were interdependent. You know, they weren't codependent on one another. They were interdependent. You know, they can operate outside of themselves. No one lorded over them. They didn't have a a queen. They didn't have they had the oracles, and that's who they went to get guidance or whatever they needed as far as on their spiritual path, on their growth. They would go to the oracles, but other than that, no one lorded over anybody, and even the oracles didn't lord over them. But they didn't lord over them. There was no king, there was no queen, there was no president, there was nothing like that. They knew what they needed to do, and it's like they just knew, and they did it. And the way they lived, everyone ate, everyone was clothed, everyone smelled good. Everyone looked good, everyone was happy, everyone was joyous, you know, because they were doing what they were passionate about. And they worked together as a unit. They were communal type of people, and I love that. They it Yeah, they were self-autonomous, you know. Oh boy, the foundations of the earth, of this world, is of course, of this planet, rather, not world, not planet, not earth, but the planet is off course, and we have been living under a patriarchal society for centuries. Okay, and this is by design that they did this to us. The women, they governed themselves. Okay, each one self-governed. That's what they were, the governor. They governed themselves, right? Um, okay. Yeah, I wrote some things down. um, One of the things that I thought about, and I asked myself the question about when the Anunnaki women came, right? When they came to me, I called them the Anunnaki women because that's what I understand now, who they were. Because back then I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know who they were. I know I didn't feel any type of fear or anything. I felt no fear when they came. When I saw them, I wasn't afraid. I didn't get that. So but that what they wanted me to know, hmm, is that they want us to do this ourselves. It's time for us to wake up. Remember, I'll be saying that all the time. We need to wake up. And they want us to, it's not that, let me just say this too. It's not that they can't help us or won't help us. They will. But there are some things we have to do ourselves, and they want us to. One of the main things that they want, the Anunnaki women, They want us to come together in one mind, one spirit again, like how it was. That is going to be hard because let me tell you, the delusion is strong. The delusion is really strong. It's really strong. So it's not going to be everybody, and I know this, not as much as I would love for it to be. All of us just coming together again like that, spiritually, so we can tear this shit up. Let me stop. um, but yeah, they want us to do it ourselves as much as we can. And then they'll help because they're still here. They watch. They watch us. They're still watching. Remember, I told you I was on a cliff. It looked like I was on a cliff. And it looked like I was high up because I was in the clouds. But when I looked down, it's like what I was looking down at was right up in my face. And I thought about that and I'm like, you know what? That's almost like a microscope. That's what it was, a microscope, because it brought it up to me, but it was far away because I'm up in the clouds, right? Um, I do believe they want us to get wisdom from the past, right? And not allow what has happened to happen again. Because if the course that we're on right now, it's going to happen again. They are here with us, in us, and will not allow the planet to be destroyed. What they are going to do, they're going to try. They're going to try to destroy this planet. They are, but they're not going to let them. They're not going to let them. They're not going to allow them to destroy this planet because it's like they're saying, well, if we can't have it, you can't have it, you know? So they are here with us. The planet is going to go through a purge. Okay. And it's going through the purge now. It's going through that purge to where it's purifying itself. It's cleansing itself of anything that is not righteous, is clearing the foundation, or who has not elevated to where they need to be spiritually. And this is how I see it. I see it as like the foundation has to be torn apart because we've been under a patriarchal system for a long time, and it's not working. It's not working. It never has worked. I know you feel this, and I know you know this, ladies. You feel this. You sense it. You sense that it's not working. All you got to really do is step outside your door. Heck, now it's coming in. You ain't even got to go nowhere. You could just you can see it. Okay. Oh, so the planet is going through a purge so that so that the foundation can be corrected. Okay. We need a whole new foundation here. And that's what's going to happen. And that's what is happening. And seeing they're running scared now. Because all that is needed is for us to wake up, those that need to be awakened. Now, a lot of us ain't gonna make it because we stubborn. Yeah, I said it. I'm stubborn. I am a stubborn person. I can be. But we are very stubborn. And what does that book, the Bible, and I'll come from the Bible because it has a lot of good things in it. But see, that's the trick. There's a whole bunch of allegories. There's a whole bunch of astrology is in that book. Sacred geometry. Um, um, uh what is the other word I'm looking for? It's just so much in it. It's also like they took different strolls and put that in, and then it's also some Greek stuff that they threw in there, and then they threw in some stuff of their own to keep the wheels of slavery going, to keep the people enslaved. They threw that stuff in, like the one that's in Romans about slaves obey your master, making slavery okay. So who did that, right? Who's the one that did that? Who, you got to think about that. Who did that? Who okayed that to take place and happen, right? Who okayed that? So you have to think, and that's what I really am really want for you all to do, is to think. All right? Critically think. Um yeah. What was the saying that they who they who don't learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. Because it has happened before and it's going to happen again. But anyway, let me go ahead and finish. These beings that came, male, and what I got is they were looking for, or maybe they even just stumbled upon them. I don't know. They didn't know that they were here, you know. But from what I understand, they had, um, they were looking for the resources here on the planet, right? They were looking for the resources here, and they began to work and mine, to get the resources from the planet. And I believe they just may have just stumbled upon them. They weren't looking for them, quote unquote, looking for them. They just wanted to get the minerals and everything from this planet, but then they found the women were here. Because what I got is like they were running away from them, right? They were running away from uh because they just wanted to live in peace. They just wanted peace, right? So that's what they did. But when these males were chaotic, aggressive, savage, deceitful, angry. And it was a couple of them. Now, this was confirmed to me by he's on YouTube too. It's Billy Carson. Really good. Really good. But I really do feel like uh he's done some great research, don't get me wrong. But I feel like he's being disingenuous because he'll say it, but then he kind of takes it back. That he'll say that the feminine principle is missing. That's what's missing from this, is the feminine principle is missing from the world, right? But he won't just come out and say it. He'll say something like this. He has on one of his videos, he says, there were other people on the planet before the Anunnaki came. Hmm. Why don't you just go on ahead and just say it? Highly melanated people were here, and they were women. Why don't you just go on ahead and say it? But he won't. And I feel like he's being very disingenuous when he says that. What he don't say, rather. So I did get into where the the other males, just go back and listen to the other video, the first one that I did on the Anunnaki. The other women, males that they genetically modified, tampered with their DNA, came down. They sent the women down and they took over the camp. Okay. They took over where our ancestors were. So, trying to see. Right, because we got to that part where I said to you that we only could replicate ourselves. We could not make a male. We could only, our ancestors would only be able to replicate themselves, right? They needed workers, and they knew we weren't going to do it. I guess they figured like we didn't have the physical strength to do it. So what they did was they began to I'm smiling because they'll get upset when you say this, but I don't care. It is the truth. It is what it is. Okay. They needed someone to build, pull, live. That's what they created for. So they went ahead and tampered with the women's DNA to where they were not able to replicate themselves anymore, right? And instead, they did succeed and they got the males, right? Okay, we went through all of that. Tell you about the first ones that they created when they did it the first time. They were women, and the women replicated themselves again, but there was something different about them because they were not highly melanated, right? And I told you about that. That's in the first one. So I would suggest you go back and watch the first one. Just listen to it. Just talking. I'm trying to see. I did discuss that part. And I think I did get to that part too, where I shared that they tampered with the other males, tampered with the other women genetically, and they were able to create males. Yes, and that's when they grew up and they became uh, vicious, terrible to their creator, and to ease their suffering, they said, "Well, we'll go ahead and do this." And they went down. The other women went down to where the highly melanated women were, where the men were. And that's kind of like their downfall. But anyway, the males, like I said, they became really abusive to these women. And see, these are things that I had already read and talked to you about. Okay. All right. I think this is where I was, I got cut off. I cut off and then I started back again. But this is how they were able to colonize where the women were. So they did that and they took over where the highly melanated women were. After the highly melanated women sent the other women, after they sent, well, after, not the highly melanated women, after the other males sent the other women in as a distraction for the highly melanated men, right? And the highly melanated men just let whatever happen happen. And I think I shared that with you. And that's where I believe where they got that um, that Garden of Eden from. Because that's what it was. It was a beautiful place, right? So anyway, let me try to hurry up and get done with this. Um, they were able to breed the women over and over, and they created males. They created males. They gave them males, highly melanated males. Um, they created the other women were creating their males still. Um, Here's where one part is though, where the highly melanated males begin to how they used to say what the older people would say, like they begin to smell themselves. So they wanted to be like the other males, right? They wanted to be like the other males, so they began to, the highly melanated men began to do to the women. And let me just say this, the highly melanated women, they were honored, you know, they were well respected by the highly melanated men. But when they came and colonized, the highly melanated men lost all of that. They lost that respect for their creator. As just as the other males did with the other women. And from there on, this is where you have this. It, I'm pretty sure, I don't know the dates, I don't know the times, I know what was given to me. And go do your research, find it out. Find it out. Find if you want dates and everything. I don't need dates and all that stuff. I know what happened. So I don't need the dates. I know it happened. And it's going to happen again if we don't wake up. Um, this is where your patriarchy starts. Because this Anunnaki being that came, one of them, they call him Marduk. Marduk, I think that's what it is. His name is. But down the line and through the years and through the centuries, his name, or either Marduk, translate into Amun Ra. Okay. And I could see that. I don't believe everything someone tells me. I do have to do some research, and I have to ask myself these questions so that I can find the answers myself. Because I know I'm not going to lie to me. I mean, not my inner self anyway. I have deceived myself when dealing with the wrong person. Yes, you can deceive yourself. But yeah, his name is several other names too, but I remember Marduk and Amun Ra. So that's where you get your, this one is like and it's in the book. You know, it's the Bible. This is where you get, when you say amen, you're actually saying, praising, or worshiping Amun Ra. And that's what he said he wanted. He wanted everyone to worship him. He wanted to be the God. And so were the other ones that came down. Um, I don't know. I don't think they were giants. I don't think they were giants. But they were taller than the average um, height or whatever. But so they were tall, and they did have this advanced technology. So it made them appear to be gods. Everything that you see here now on this planet, it's always been here. It's been here. They brought it here, a lot of it here. But when you say amen, and I was told when I used to go to church that it was saying, "Let it be so." Mm-mm. You're praising Amun Ra. You're giving him worship, and by doing that energetically, you are misdirecting your energy to go against your demise. You praying against your own demise here. That's what you're doing. That's what we're doing. You know, until we wake up. I don't do it anymore, but I used to. So, like I said, do your research because it's out there. It's out there. And don't believe me, do your own research, do your own thing. Just listen to what I said, maybe think about it. Think. It's a divide and conquer thing. The other thing I wanted to ask you. No, I don't think I'm going to ask you that. But I'm going to show you something. Let me see if I can show you this. Since I'm not able to use the OBS, but let me show you this. Where is it? Let me see if I can find it. Give me a minute. Okay, here it is. I'm gonna see if you can see this. All right, I'm gonna turn my phone around and see if you can see it. Can you see that? These, I tell you, it is here. Okay. Anything that you need to know, ask yourself the question. Because I asked about this. And one day I was strolling through and I found this picture that I've had. But look, they're showing you a distinction between these two. See how big they are? And they're showing you that they're bigger, right? Look at the chairs they're in. Look at how big the chairs is compared to these. These are grown adults here. This one may be a smaller child or something like that. But you see the difference? That lets you know that these are the so-called the Anunnaki women. You see that? So they're here. So I think it was out of jealousy. It may not be, but I think it was out of jealousy that they did what they did to our ancestors, to where we could no longer, they could no longer reproduce themselves. And like I said, it is a thing. Parthenogenesis. It is a thing. It's a thing. It really is. Research it. Hmm. But they were here, and they're still here, and they're waiting on us to wake up, ladies. Because we've been under this system for far too long and it's not working, and the planet is being destroyed by them. Well, they're doing the work of their father. I'll be glad when they do come back and take all their ass with them. Get rid of them. We want to go back to peace. Anyway, I am going to go. Fast forward this, do whatever you need to do. But I hope you listen to part of it and also to get you to critically think. All right? We don't need anything or anyone outside of ourselves. Everything you need is already in you. And I'm going to answer that question for you that I asked you to ask yourself. Why do we feel the need to worship something outside of ourselves? As they were messing with our DNA, our ancestors' DNA, there is something, and do your research, find this out, because it exists. And it's called, while they were tampering with our DNA and inserting their essence in us, in our ancestors, in me, because it's in me, I am my ancestors. Um, they also put in there a worship gene. And that's the thing too. Research it. So that's why we feel the need, because Amon Ra wanted to be worshipped. Okay, so he added that gene as he was genetically modifying. Mm. So that's why we feel the need to worship someone outside of ourselves, in which, like I said earlier, no one is to be worshiped. You can have a reverence, you can honor them, give homage, but no one is to be worshiped in the way that this psychopath wanted to be worshiped. But they gave it to him, and now we have this need to worship any and everything outside of ourselves, but it can be turned off. The gene is open or turned on or whatever it is automatically. You have to stop the cycle and stop perpetuating the cycle. Okay. Um, I have turned that gene off. That worship gene, I don't have that desire to worship anyone. And you can do it too. It's going to take some time because it's been in us for a long time to want to worship something outside of or someone outside of ourselves. And we are still doing it. We worship everything, especially them. Y'all don't realize that they want you to worship them, males. They do. And it's not your fault, but it's by design. They set it up that way. And it's everywhere. But we just don't pay it any attention. It's everywhere. They have to keep the spell going. But a lot of us are waking up and coming up out of this, and we ain't playing it. But a lot more of us need to wake up in order to see real change occur on this planet. I'm going to leave it here for now. It's been too long already. And a lot of it's just been me babbling. So, anyway, I'll be back tomorrow and we are going to talk about some more of this. I will be back tomorrow. But I wanted to finish that up. And it's probably some things that I forgot. But tomorrow I'll hopefully I'll remember and we'll talk about it then. Um, yeah, I love y'all. Love my sisters. All of you, everywhere. Let's wake up.